Hello and welcome to Tour de Zwift Live, the home of competitive Zwift action over the next 4 weeks as we get into Tour de Zwift 2020. Now, over the course of this, the first of our live shows, one of us will play the role of Hannah Walker, who is an ex-pro cyclist and also a cycling expert. One of us will be OJ Borge. Hannah Walker, which one do you want to play?
Can I be OJ Borge tonight?
You can do. If you want to be that large, you can
would.
do. And I say large, disclaimer at the top of the show, that when we came in for rehearsals about an hour ago, what happened, Hannah Walker?
Too many mince pies over the festive period, I think. It fell off the chair. Well, it snapped.
I didn't fall
actually.
off the chair.
It snapped the chair.
I
He
sat
kind of
on
fell
it.
back a bit, held himself.
It snapped immediately. So, over the next, whatever it is, hour, I'm literally not sat on a chair.
Squatting.
I'm doing a deep squat. Literally, you can't even tell, can you? I'm like a Cossack under the
that.
table.
No shaking whatsoever.
No moving.
Perfect.
So, what is the Tour de Zwift? Well, this is an event that invites all Zwifters to join and participate in a 4-week in-game event series that showcases the 7 unique worlds of the Zwift ecosystem. 7 stages, we'll have 7 stages and 7 races to kick them off, and we are wanting you this year to maybe do one of 3 things. You can ride it, you can run it, you can race it, or if you're feeling completely January, you can do all 3.
And this show is where we will be bringing you all the info of each Tour de Zwift stage the day before it gets underway. We'll be showing you the course on offer and also bringing you insider tips. We'll also be bringing you stories from participating people.
Participating people. Like ourselves, and we'll tell you why we're participating a little bit later on in the show. It involves us in a race in the Cat Seas, may I add, one more time. As we said, we'll bring you the live Zwift races as well. Before each of the worlds goes live, there will be a pro and elite race beforehand, just to show you where you can go, some tips and some proper pain face. And it's on that I would like to invite you to get involved, and that is pain faces. What is a pain face, Hannah?
It's where, you're racing or you're training, you're pushing yourself into the depths of your unknown, and we'll be seeing some faces very shortly.
Are you talking about my face? Because
Maybe-
I want to
maybe
see
mine
your
as well.
face. Well, I wanted to call this time to Gurn, but apparently pain faces were better. It's basically take a photo of yourself either during or post-ride. Now, these are Hannah. Where was this, Hannah?
This was on a team training camp last year in Tuscany.
You look good
doing
there.
KSL.
You look good.
Looking great.
Yeah, next
Fantastic.
photo. Okay, trying a bit harder there. On a TT bike,
Yeah.
maximum draft.
It's a little misfunction where we didn't have the disc brake adapter for the smart trainer.
Just put the TT bike on.
Normal TT bike. Actually, good tip. It's actually very good for riding. Get all the power out. Get on the edge of the saddle.
And just to prove that Hannah does work hard, check this out. The amount of spray people had to put on her face, and then she had to just grunt and make it look like she was working really, really hard. So that would be her pain face.
I think all the fans around, really spurring me on as well.
Yeah. So if you've got a pain face like that, hashtag Tour de Zwift, or if your post-race face is anything like this, which is mine. Now, as you can see, this is, I don't know when this is, only a couple of days ago, I think, actually. I did a race, and that's how I ended up looking at the end of it. Then I look a little bit like this at times. You can see how sweaty I am. And just for the ultimate picture, check this out. There you go. I'm very proud of that headband.
It's like 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's awful. Do you know what? I have to be hosed down when I get out of my pain cave. It's terrible. Anyway, we want to see your pain faces, whether it's during a ride or post. During is difficult, because if you don't have a photographer like Hannah, for me, I basically was fanning around with my phone during a race. I dropped it, and then I got dropped from the group. So post or during a ride is absolutely fine.
We don't want to disrupt you, yeah. Do it post. No. And I'm hearing that we're going to get a glimpse into where the Zwift magic happens for you.
You say magic,
OJ.
yeah.
Let's go and check it out. By the sounds of things, I think OJ's in here. OJ! What's happening?
Oh, I was just trying to beat my time up a hill.
Have I interrupted you? Have I ruined your day?
No, you just caught me in the process of failure.
Should we get out of here and go and have a chat? How's it going?
Sorry for sweating on you.
What is your Zwift story?
Because I've always been a gamer, I've always played computer games, and because I like cycling, for me it was just, this just works. And as soon as I got a smart trainer, and I got an iPad and I hooked it all up, I was like, yeah, I'm in.
You've been winning quite a lot.
I have. I'm embarrassingly proud that I've won races. Just to point out, I've not won like all of the races, I've won the Cat Seas. And as I go through my Zwift Power account, I look at it and I think, this is like the first thing I have won since I was about 13 years old. It's a whole new world. I might go pro.
So how are you able to fit Zwift in with your work life and family life? Obviously you're doing a night show with BBC Radio 2.
So basically, as soon as no one's looking, I disappear outside, I jump on the turbo, and hopefully there's a race going on. If not, I'll do some sort of session. But it fits perfectly because we have 2 kids. I jump on when no one's looking.
Tour de Zwift, it's nearly underway. Are you excited for it?
Yeah, massively excited, knowing that A, we'll be working together and we're going to be doing the races beforehand, and then I can go and ride it. It's going to be so exciting, and that it's every single world as well. And it's something to aim for. I know on those days, I will be doing London, I'll be doing Innsbruck, whatever it is, I know I'll be doing it, and I love that. I love a plan.
What did your wife Amy think about the Zwifting and your setup?
She loves my setup, but she's generally disgusted by me.
Yeah, I know when he's cycling, I can hear it.
When I drip out of there after a race and I stagger about, she will literally not let me in the house.
I know when the race is finished, because I look out of the doors and you can just see the shadow with steam coming off it, and that's OJ apparently recovering from his Zwift race.
You work in esports, don't you?
I do, yes. I work with Counter-Strike, I work with Call of Duty and other games on top of that. And what's weird is when people I work with have seen that I've tweeted about it or I've been on Zwift, they've come to me and gone, oh, I race on Zwift as well.
Are you a bit of a converter? Like, oh, get on it, yeah, we can do this, we can do meetups, we can do races.
I am, yeah, everyone I know. And I am to the point of, have you heard of Zwift? No, well, you should get it. And then I'm convincing them. And then they'll buy a turbo and we're like, let's meet up on Zwift.
Thanks very much. Great chat. Can't wait to get Tour de Zwift underway.
I can't wait.
And the racing.
It's going to be amazing. But listen, talking of racing, if you don't mind seeing yourself out, you interrupted my session, so I'm going back on the turbo. Hannah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. If you don't win, then don't turn up on Saturday.
I never lose. I just sometimes haven't finished winning when time runs out.
So then, did you win? Did time run out?
No, it did not. I won the Cat Seas. I got a golden trophy. I ran inside and showed my wife. She was so unimpressed. She was like, why are you showing me this again, OJ? Stop it. One thing I do have to pick up from that, how dirty was my bike?
Filthy.
Terribly dirty.
You should be ashamed.
It's my winter bike that I put on my turbo, but I haven't actually been outdoors this
winter.
winter.
So how's it dirty then? If it's
because I have not.
Is that from the previous season?
Yeah, I've not watched it all summer. Just to let you know, we have got your chat up wherever you're watching this, whichever of the streaming services you're watching this on. We have got your chat up. There was Darren Chandy Singh who said, "You're not Nathan Guerra." I think he was talking about you. Nathan is here.
He looks like me.
He will be obviously taking charge of the race when it happens in the not too distance. He will be the commentator for the race, which is the women's teams.
It is.
Now, before we get into the teams and the riders, let's take a look at the world, which goes live tomorrow. It's one you may know. Some famous cobbles, and take us through it is Matt Stevens.
Stage 1 of the Tour de Zwift takes place in London. The London World showcases central London, where we're taking Buckingham Palace, the Mall and Big Ben. It also features the Surrey Hills, with the likes of Box Hill and Leith Hill. Each group in Stage 1 takes on a unique route around London, with groups for any ability and experience, whether this is your first ride on Zwift or you're sat way up at level 50. The A group take on the Leith Hill after party. This is the longest route for this stage, taking in laps of central London before a real sting in the tail, finishing at the top of Leith Hill. Make sure you leave something in the tank for that very difficult finish. The shorter route in Stage 1 is the B group. This ride stays mostly within the confines of the city on the Greatest London Flat Route, which takes you through central London and through the tube tunnel into the countryside, but avoids the bigger Surrey Hills by skirting through Richmond Park and back over London Bridge, finishing where you started. There's also a women's only group, which is the C group, who'll take on the Greater London 8 route. Starting in central London, as all routes do, this takes in a lap of the embankment before heading up Box Hill and descending back into central London to finish. Some riders in the Tour de Zwift will of course look to go head to head and race for the win. So if you do, these races will certainly be for you. Each race is divided up into 4 subcategories based on your watts per kilo, so you'll only race against people of similar capabilities to yourself. Races will take place on the London Classic route, a 2-lap race around the Mall, Constitution Hill and Birdcage Walk. The run events in the Tour de Zwift are all about the personal challenge. The run route for Stage 1 in London takes on the lead into the London Classic route, heading along the South Bank to Trafalgar Square and down the Strand before heading on to the Mall to the finish line.
Thank you very much, Matt Stevens. Big fan of London? Like London?
Yeah, I like London. I think it's nice, isn't it? You go past, through the route and you're like, oh, I've been there, I've done that.
Come out of that nightclub there. Been sick in that gutter there? No,
that's never happened.
Never, never, never. Now this, obviously, as we keep saying, is a race season. So, racing on the London course. What is that race going to be like? What is the course like? Once again, Matt Stevens takes us through that race.
Stage 1 of the Tour de Zwift ProAm race is women only and takes place on the same route as the mass participation community rides, the London Classic route. Although this isn't a traditional first across the line race, it's a team points race where each time on both laps, including the lead-in, when the riders cross under the lap arch, they will have to sprint to win points for their team. The 2 laps take the riders along the Mall, past Buckingham Palace and along Westminster before they hit Whitehall. This section of road is where we'll likely see the riders trying to break away early, as it's the only climb on the course and the gradient peaks at 5.9%. Each lap concludes when the riders head down the Strand before passing under the Flamme Rouge, then heading onto Trafalgar Square and onto the Mall for the sprints. At 16.9 k's or 10.4 miles, this is a fast and snappy course, where the women will be putting down big sprint numbers to win those all-important points for their teams.
It is a great course to ride on, and one of the good things, if you're going to race it like we are tomorrow, you said yes this, haven't you? 7:10 we're going to sign up and race it, is there's no climbing.
Whoop, whoop, 38 metres, but that's...
Is that it? Just
that's
38
it.
metres?
It's nice, isn't it?
I can just about deal
Perfect.
with 38 metres. So then, talk us through the race. What is going to be happening in this race? How does it work?
It's going to be, a very fast. It's going to be flat, as you can see here for some of the information. But the format is, very different to what we've seen in the past. It's a team-based points competition. Points are scored for 2 intermediate sprints over the start-finish line, and again for the finish. Double points for the finish, so teams are going to have to be aware of that. So 3 opportunities to grab points for your team. 16.9 kilometres, 10.4 miles, and the key features are it's relatively flat, so it's going to favour those who are more powerful riders rather than the climbers. 1 small rise on each lap, Parliament Street, but at 5.9%, nothing too much to worry about.
38 metres of climbing, that is words to my ear when you're over 100 kilos like I am. Now, one thing people don't realise when they watch Zwift racing for the first time is the amount of tactics that is needed. And this being a team event, I think for me is what sets Zwift racing apart.
Yeah, teams are going to, chatter to each other before what the tactics going to be, what they're going to do in the race, and all the way up to until during the race as well. They're going to be very, very active in communication. Team managers giving them tips. Get a little look at the teams here.
Who do you like? Well, for me, see, I'm a terrible person. I still look at teams based on jerseys. I go, I like that jersey.
Yeah.
I've still done this my entire life now, and for me, Canyon SRAM have got the best jersey. Which team should we be looking out for?
Canyon SRAM definitely, and Canyon ZCC. Turbo down at the bottom with a purple fading into black team, very much one to watch out for. Leah Thorvilson there, Zwift Academy winner from 2016 on that team. Some of the riders to watch, Mary Wilkinson, silver medalist at the British National Zwift Championships last year. Louise Huback, the Danish champion, and Samara Shepherd recently, just came off the Zwift Academy finalists in December. We'll have fire in a belly against Canyon SRAM's Hannah Barnes. Didn't quite make that pro contract. She'll be fit.
Yeah, Hannah Barnes is good as well. Very, very,
Former
very good.
World champion, always going to be very good. And
You've raced with, haven't you?
I have.
The 2 Hannahs, Hannah Squared.
We did. I'm on my first national title with
Name dropper, look who's got a national title in the room, it isn't me.
Who's got the Team Sky trophy anyway?
We don't talk, I dropped that Team Sky trophy. I did a race once as a journalist with them, I dropped it was terrible. So then, as I said before, we are going to be doing a race tomorrow. If you want to join in with us, and we do, the whole point about these races beforehand with the elites and the pros is that it sets up the world being open for all of the Tour de Zwift. World 1 starts now. Let's hand over for our first race. The women's teams, they're ready to go on the turbos, revving up to 500 watts. Nathan Guerra, it's over to you.
And thank you so much to OJ and Hannah for that pre-show. We are in the pens here over in the London course, classic course, women's racing Tour de Zwift 2020 stage number 1. 6 seconds to go. It's going to be fast and furious racing. I'm Nathan Guerra, going to be doing your commentary for you today. And we are off to the races here. It looks like fast and furious from the get-go. Race 3 are off the back already. We can see Leah Thorvilson there, as you can see sitting mid-pack from Team Turbo. Lots of big hitters. Put out a little bit of a social media tweet beforehand, and lots of responses we saw to that because of how much firepower that there is in this group right now. We were saying beforehand that the amount of firepower, I'm not sure I've seen this many top Zwift racers amongst the women's fields before. So it's going to be fast and furious. Early on here, I think the racers that might not have the kind of sprints perhaps that some of the others, we might see a team try and break away a little bit early to maybe steal some points early on. Now, we do have 2 intermediate sprints coming up in this race, followed up by a final sprint to the line. Those 2 intermediate sprints are going to be worth some good points, and then the final one, though, is going to be worth a whole lot of points. So the reality is that that final sprint to the line is going to be worth the most for the teams. We are looking at Leo Thorverson here, Team Turbo. On the lower left-hand side of the screen, you can see the live stats for the rider, their current watts, their RPMs, the beats per minute of their heart rate currently, as well as their current kilometers per hour. Right-hand side, you can see the positions of the riders currently, as well as their current watts per kilogram from the position they are currently holding on to. Now, in case you did not know, this how stacked this field actually is, we've got multiple national champions of Zwift out on course right now. Kristen Falk, current Norwegian national champion of coming out of Norway there, obviously 2019. Louise Hubach there as well, the Danish national champion in here. Angela Pitzer's in here, coming out of the USA with that United States national championship. So some big names amongst the Zwift racers, obviously. But then we've also got the Pro-Am side of it with the professional riders that are coming in. We've got 2020 obviously in here, hammering away. Shayna Paulus is representing out there. We've also got Courtney Nelson and a few other additions to that pro team that are racing Zwift specifically. Canyon Schramm out here as well, obviously, as we saw in the pre-show. So Pro-Am versus the community is still the theme here. As you know, I think as we saw in the KISS Super League last year, that the professional riders learned a little bit about that they might have the work cut out for them jumping into this genre of cycling against those who have a lot of experience in it out here today. Moving up toward the front though, K-Shafter, you see Team Cryogen there in the blue kit making their way to the front. 4-7, a little bit of a kick as they're about to go past the river times here in just a moment. There's going to be a right-hand turn on to the climb into the classic course. So there is one time up. This climb will be taking a right-hand turn, and then from there, they're going to be out on the mall and doing laps on the classic course. So it does look like things are coalescing, though. The group keeping it pretty calm. We're seeing Shayna Paulus there from 2020 making their way to the front, making her way to the front. It looks like 2020 kind of taking over along with KRT. KRT and 2020 both in those blue kits. Be watching out for them. KISS Racing Team out there, KRT, long time standing team that has been racing on Zwift all the way back since beta days. Be watching out for them. There's Shayna Paulus' numbers there right now from 2020, currently sitting in 6th place, now moving way back to 39th place. You can see how quickly things can change up amongst the pack. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Zwift racing as well as far as the dynamics and physics in game, Shayna is definitely looking for a draft right now as she sits in about 5th, 6th wheel or so right there, making sure she doesn't get too far back in the pack before they actually hit this front end, before they hit this right-hand turn into the climb here. Currently 281 watts right now in order to hang on to that spot. And it is an interesting take and give a little bit when it comes to trying holding on to a position. If you're familiar with kart racing in real life or road racing in real life, there's a reality of having to give a little bit extra watts, as you do see here, bumping to 265, 243 there over and over again to hold on to that position, and then back off and try and find that draft, and then move forward and back off to try and find that draft. You don't want to find yourself too far back and all of a sudden the attacks go on. And at the same time, you do see some racers risk it a little bit more and hang out as far back as they possibly can in order to get as much draft as they can. But it is a risk to do so. Vision, you can see on the left-hand side there in the black and white and lightly a little bit of scattering of blue on there, making their way to the left-hand side here. Be watching out for Samara Schepter, top World Cup rider from the mountain bike, just coming off the Zwift Academy finals, actually. And, one of the finalists that was at the Canyon Schramm team camp, actually. Samara Shepard, watching out for her on these climbs, being a mountain biker, she can climb like no other. We've seen her huge results in the Kids Super League last year as well. So now the kicks are coming here now as the riders get into one of the only climbs that they're going to see out on course. Are there going to be any breakaways early on here to try and grab some points in the first intermediate sprint is going to be the question. There it is now from DBR here. It looks like it is going to be Louise Hubach off the front here, and this is one of the strongest riders we know of. Rachel Elliott looking to follow things up. Hansen there, her teammate there, Cecilia Hansen, the two national champions here, looking to get away right from the get-go. The Danish national champion, the Swedish national champion, Cecilia Hansen, Louise Hubach. These are some of the strongest women we've ever seen coming out of the community here and making a name for themselves in Zwift racing. These two could TT away from everybody out on course, but we've got Bradbury here now, the reigning national champion here, looking to come across there. Rosamund Bradbury here. This is the UK national champion, another one in the world of Zwift here, coming across, grabs onto the wheel, and that's exactly what Louise and Cecilia do not want to see, because Bradbury's got a sprint as well. Probably a better sprint than almost anybody in the field here, as that is how she was able to take down those live finals in London. So Rosemary Bradbury calming right on down, as you can see here. Louise Hubach, though, you can see her heart rate jumping up into that 179 beats per minute for that DBR team. Now a little kick here from Fearless off the front. That was a little bit of unexpected here, actually, as Fearless starts to take over. It looks like Malou here now from Team Fearless starting to kick 190 beats per minute here. Dungham here, it looks like, from Vision coming on through. Nelson holding onto the wheel there. These are the top four right now, but it's going to be Malou coming through for the 1 kilometer to go to the sprint for the intermediate, the first intermediate sprint. Now again, it's all about the team points competition. The teams are the ones that are looking to win, and Vision, 3 jerseys taking over the front. The lead out is starting to get set up here. As you can see, it's Duncan. It looks like Bradley as well from Vision making their way to the front now. Now it's starting to get a little bit overtaken though. A few of the other teams looking to take over. As you can see, Joyner to the front from Draft now starts to take over in the red kit. But where's the rest of the Draft team? Coming up, here comes the sprint now. We're within about 700 meters to go to this first intermediate sprint. Samara Shepard now from Vision looks to be set up almost perfectly, but she's taken over the lead of this group here. Maybe not exactly where she wants to be. It might be about the first one to kick, because everybody is kind of keeping a calm at this point. We're starting to see maybe a little bit of lead outs from C. Watts here from 3R. No, everybody just kind of sitting and watching each other, not wanting to go just yet. And here's the first kick. Rosamund Bradbury, Team Turbo goes first. McKay follows up. 11.4 watts per kilometer coming from her. McKay sitting on the wheel. Turbo, maybe a 1-2, but DBR coming through. It's going to be, looks like Whitelaw, Vicky Whitelaw coming out of Australia, takes it down, followed up by, it looks like Stockley from 3R perhaps. SZ was in there as well with Lovedahl. It's going to be Whitelaw, Bradbury, Lovedahl, Hubach, McKay, followed by Shepard from Vision, Hansen here up, and then we've got Welter and Malou, Team Fearless, rounding out the top 10 with 9th and 10th place for the first intermediate sprint. What a kick there from Whitelaw, taking down those points for 10. Whitelaw with the late jump, coming from 4th wheel, actually. Rosamund Bradbury opened it up almost perfectly, but it was unable to get it to the line as Whitelaw timed it there with the Draft. DBR taking down 21 points with 2 in those top 10. Turbo there with 18. SCR actually with Lovedahl coming through late, grabs 8 and gets them on the board for 3rd. Vision coming through for 5, Fearless 3, and no points for anybody else out on course here. So a lot of these teams obviously showing up and coordinating well to get on through. And it looks like the community teams setting up perfectly, especially with DBR and Turbo, making sure that they were well positioned coming into that first intermediate sprint. Things calming down out on course here as we're about to do a 180-degree turn here. We'll see if a couple of the riders take advantage of the reality of the slowdown out on course on this turn. This little 180-degree turns, the avatars come out of it, and usually there's a wheel loss or there's a little bit of a adjustments in the pack there as the speeds come down and then come back up. There may be an attack out of this corner. Looks like things are staying calm, though. Everybody's just going to be waiting, it looks like, for the next sprint or climb, perhaps, as they will head back into Trafalgar Square in just a moment. Now, there is a chase group that has formed behind. There were some breaks off of that initial attack that came through from Hubach as well as Cecilia Hansen. Louise Hubach, Cecilia Hansen, DBR were able to break this field apart early on as this chase group containing Shayna Paulus from 2020, we can see. It looks like Katrina Weiss is in there as well as Dijkstra coming from Cryogen. So there is Leah Brewer also from Fearless as well, so there is quite a few off the back here at this point. That's just one chase group. Then there's another chase group behind here containing Hannah Bars from Canyon Shram here. We're seeing Grobler as well as Sidvik. So Sidvik there as well from Velocity. So they're all coalescing together though behind. So there is a group that's starting to form, gaining a lot of firepower actually, and we may see a few of these riders make an effort to get back on terms. It's only about 13 seconds here at this point if they get organized, because this front group here does seem to be calming down, waiting for the next sprints. They could get involved. It might have been just a little bit of inattention. We spoke about that early on before we hit that first climb. There is the reality that the riders may have been a little bit too far back, not expecting those early attacks, not expecting those orange numbers that we saw from Hubach and Hansen that were followed up by the rest of the group. The speeds got a little bit too high, maybe got away from them. So we'll have to wait and see if that 13 seconds can be closed down. It hasn't gone out to an insurmountable amount here at this point. Currently looking at Angela Pitzer here, the current U.S. national champion, riding for Team Draft here. 176 watts. It looks like at 179 beats per minute, though. So Angela Pitzer trying to bring that heart rate down most likely before the next sprint. Do not believe Draft got into the overall for the team points just yet, so they're going to be trying to set up to try and grab something a little bit better here on this next time through. Looks like Ravazzolo riding forward. 3R out of Italy here, trying to take over there at the front there and drive the pace a little bit in the chase group behind this pack. We'll see if they can bring that back, as there are some solid 6+ watts per kilogram being thrown down in the chase group. But at the front, it is going to be Team SZ at the front end of that chase group now as well. Now, Shamara Shepard from Vision here, as they take the left-hand turn into the only climb that is on course, was making her way toward the front just a moment ago. We continue to follow along with Angela Pitzer, though, as we can see. It is going to be Leah Thorvaldsen now putting a little bit of a dig at the front. It looks like they are starting to get organized in this front group to make sure that that chase group does not bring anything back. Now, this is the time to shine for the climbers, though. Samara Shepard, MT mountain biker out of New Zealand, making her way to the front, using the feather power-up. Here's another feather power-up. Elise Hubach got a lot of luck there with that roll of the dice on that feather power-up. Throws down 8 watts per kilogram, and again, Hubach on the kick. Malou looking to follow it up from Team Fearless here. 1 second is the gap at this point. Samara Shepard going across, it looks like 6 watts per kilogram coming from her at about 255 watts, but it's Louise Hubach off the front that we're looking at here right now. She's got a gap. Shepard looking to go across, 8.1 watts per kilogram. You can see those orange numbers coming across on the right-hand side of the screen. 176 beats per minute. Hubach's got a lot to work with. Shepard grabs onto the wheel. Here comes Canyon Shram, though, sitting on the wheel as well. As she came across, it looks like it's going to be Sacchini here now as well, trying to get across. And moving forward, though, it looks like Whitelaw completely in control at the front end of this race here now. So out in the, some of the riders getting left out though in no man's land here at this point, trying to work together to chase this front group down because they have put everybody on the back foot, completely blown apart. Only 21 riders have made this front group amongst all of the starters out here today, and there are quite a few. So huge numbers obviously being thrown down to break things absolutely apart. We've had 60 or so starters, and only 20 have made the front end. In order to make this front group, you would have to average on a minimum amongst these ladies, we're looking at a minimum of 4.1 watts per kilogram, 4.1 watts per kilogram just to hang on. And the biggest numbers thrown down so far, Courtney Nelson there from 2020 at a 5.2 watts per kilogram, absolutely demolishing this. We've got 1 kilometer to go to the next intermediate sprint for the points out here, and it looks like still involved in this team competition. It's going to be Team Turbo, DBR, the Danish bike riders. Canyon Shram is out there as well. Vision still involved. Race 3R is there as well. Revo still has 1 rider in here. Team Draft is there as well. Team Fearless still involved, it looks like, as well as Canyon ZCC. So KRT is still in there as well. Rachel Elliott, very well-known long-time rider. Rachel Elliott now taking over at the front here, it looks like, for the KISS Racing team. Smart Shepard looking to set up well again here. Was caught out a little bit, it looks like, by Rosamund Branberry and Team Turbo to the line here. Rachel Elliott now maybe being the lead-out train here at this point. As she heads to the front, she's got an FTP like no other. 5.8 watts per kilogram coming from her. Now Shepard goes early. 8.4 watts per kilogram at the 300 meter to go mark. Looks looks like she may be waiting up for a wheel, though, perhaps. Now 9.1. Where's the kick? Here it comes. There goes DBR again as Hansen shows us why she's got a kick. But now 15 watts per kilogram for one of the riders, though. Maybe that was Vicky Whitelaw, but McKay from Turbo, though, takes it down, followed up by Hansen, it looks like. And then Malou, again, involved in a top 3 type situation here. But it's McKay from Turbo, Hansen from DBR, followed up by Hubach there from DBR. And then it's going to be Malou, followed up by Bradbury a little bit further back. She's really good sprinter, but maybe the timing a little bit off there. Vicky Whitelaw coming on through now. Looks like for 6, Daniela from Revo. Good to put Revo on the board. Duncombe from Vision and Shepard from Vision as well. And then it's going to be Oris there from DBR. So DBR with, it looks like 3, maybe even 4 actually in the top 10, racking up a whole lot of points. Turbo, maybe with that 10, they'll be able to hold on to a top position. We'll get the team points competition for the results after 2 intermediate sprints on the board and just on the screen here in just a moment. 4.8 kilometers to go to the final sprint, though, in just a moment. 15 minutes of racing down so far, and it has been obviously fast and furious non-stop. Here's the team competition, and it looks like we need a little bit of an update there on the points, I believe, here, as we're about to take a 180-degree turn here on the mile now, as it looks like Shepard's taking over toward the front, and now it's going to be Mary Wilkinson, who's been fairly quiet so far from Canyon ZCC. Her as well as Kristen Falk, the 2 riders still left from Canyon ZCC out on course here. So Kristen Falk and Mary Wilkinson been quiet in the team points competition, but perhaps going to be looking to grab as many points as they possibly can across the line the final time here out here. So as we move into the final lap, we still have 3 from DBR as well as 2 Vision riders still in there. Turbo here hanging tough here with 3 with Rosamund Bradbury, Helen McKay, and Leo Thorvaldsen as well. Revo isolated here at this point with Daniela Strait, it looks like, as and the KISS Racing team with 2 riders with Kirsten Pohl as well as Rachel Elliott out there. So looking through amongst the pro teams here at this point, I believe all of the pro teams have been caught out, though. Looking through the riders list here at this point, they're all on the chase. And this is what we're talking about. Experience in this genre of cycling really matters. It really comes down to knowing how to kick, when to kick, what wheels to follow. And there is the reality when we talk about an esports side of things, the control of the avatars in game and using your pedaling well in order to control those avatars and find the wheels that you need to at the right times and knowing when to go. The kind of experience that these riders have and knowing these courses and knowing how to find the right drafts and the right power efforts at the right time is absolutely amazing. And the most experienced riders, it looks like, are being rewarded here out on course. Looking here toward the front end, it does look like Duncombe from Vision trying to take over a little bit. Now on the front, it will be, it looks like the KISS Racing team taking over toward the front as well. So Nelson there, Joyner there as well. Thorvaldsen to the front, 5.2, 5.3. A little bit of a kick as they hit this little gradient. 3 kilometers to go to the finish line. 18 minutes in here at this point. This little kick can be difficult for the riders a lot of times. If anybody's on the back foot, you can see Team Fearless making their way to the back. Revo there as well. If they're on the limit here at this point, this might be a section where they're just trying to find a wheel, and that left-hand turn is almost dreaded because they know there's going to be a 5 to 6% uphill gradient in just a moment with some serious kicks in the orange numbers. We saw Louise Hubach go with it, Cecilia Hansen as well. We saw Samara Shepard looking to take over toward the front. All the climbers were there to put the other riders in the back foot. And with this final sprint with the most points on the line, I have a feeling we are going to see a serious kick to try and drop anybody off who might be just looking to hold on to a wheel and get as much draft as they can at this point. The riders that have the kick making their way to the front, it looks like it's going to be draft. Now it's going to be Vision there as well. 2 Vision kids toward the front. Samara Shepard, it looks like Don Cole taking over the front. C. Watts there from race 3R now making her way to the 5th wheel, it looks like. Now, but here goes Vision, though. Shepard on the front again. Duncombe sitting in on 5th wheel now. Race 3R now coming up the left-hand side of the pack there, looking to maybe lead things out. KISS Racing team, it looks like, toward the front, but Shepard now with the feather power up. A little bit of RNG on her side there, it looks like, but no, Revo here, it looks like, really the isolated rider here, making things happen without any teammates in this pack, making sure that she does not get dropped off the back early on here. But it's going to be Shepard and Hansen taking over the front for DBR. Draft is still involved there, as you can see, making their way to the front there. And that's going to be Joyner from Draft. Whitelaw there still involved. But now on the front, it is Shepard there. It looks like 6.6 watts per kilogram coming from her. Mary Wilkinson. No, it's Wilkinson who's been very quiet in the sprint so far. Scary Mary, as we like to call her, she's such a strong rider out there. Very strong climber. We'll see if she's got the sprint to the line, though. Up the left-hand side, though, I do see a 2020 kid still involved there from what I can see. Rachel from KRT now sitting fourth wheel. Thorvaldsen now taking over that spot. Hansen, DBR. Everybody coalescing toward the front now at this point, making sure that nobody gets dropped off, but it's that odd moments where you don't want to have your nose in the wind. At the same time, you're looking for second wheel. Everybody kind of playing cat and mouse games with them. Look at that 2.6 drop in the power with Leah Thorvaldsen, making sure she's not putting any power that's unnecessary at this point. Nelson now from 2020. That's actually, C. Nelson, actually, the newer rider to the team, it looks like, specifically focused in on Courtney Nelson. 2020 still involved here. The only rider from a pro team from what I can see. So excuse me on earlier saying that there was no pro rider involved here still. We still have one involved amongst the pro amateur racing here, and that is going to be Courtney Nelson. Can she make it happen? 1 kilometer to go. 1 kilometer to go. What's going to happen here? KISS Racing team on the front, but Vision coming up on the right-hand side. When are they going to kick? Is there going to be an early go from 1K and take the risk here? It looks like Joyner, though, 0 watts per kilogram coming from her as she looks to try and grab a wheel, perhaps. Duncombe from Vision now 5.7. Lots of undulating here in the wattage as they come into the final kilometer here on this first stage of the Tour de Zwift 2020 right now. Who's going to win it amongst women? Get your predictions in chat here. Let's hear what you think is going to happen. Who's your favorite as Rachel Elliott takes over at the front? Now Nelson, 5.0 watts per kilogram. Huge points at the line here amongst these riders as they come across. They're doing it all for their team here. It's all about who is got the most points for each team. As Nelson opens up at 8.8 watts per kilogram, now coming on through Malou here. It's a little bit of give and take here before the actual kick. They're all looking for a position, waiting for one rider to go to grab on the wheel, and it's going to be Hubach that goes first. 10 watts per kilogram coming from Hubach. Daniela trying to come through, it looks like, but Wilkinson, 12.3. Wilkinson waking her way through, but Whitelaw's holding off at 12.8 watts per kilogram. It looks like it might be Wayne Wilkinson who timed it perfectly, but no, Daniela Hansen, it was so close, so many the line there. We're going to have to take a look at the replay, but it looks like McKay just pulls it off with a perfectly timed sprint for Turbo. Revo comes on through for second. Daniela, what a result from her. Completely isolated in that pack with no teammates, but finds the wheel and makes it happen for her second place there. Hansen comes through for 18 points in third. Mary Wilkinson, very quiet until that final kick, was looking for the win across the line, it looks like, but comes up with fourth. Vicky Whitelaw, DBR, it looks like, for fifth. Bradbury, it looks like, for sixth. And then Hubach, DBR. Shepard there coming in eighth. And then Hortus followed up by Malou. DBR, though, putting so many riders in the top spots. They've really did an amazing job, it looks like, making sure that they showed up with enough sprinters on the day. And since it's a team points competition, we'll have to see if Turbo is going to be rewarded enough with the team points competition. So this is the finish line as it came across. The final for the individuals: Helen McKay, Straight Daniela, Cecilia Hansen for DBR. It looks like Mary Wilkinson for Cayman GCC. Vicky Whitelaw for DBR coming through for fifth place. So 2 in the top 5 there for DBR. Rosamund Bradbury for Turbo. They get 2 Turbo riders in the top 10. Louise Hubach there coming through for 7th. Samara Shepard from Vision followed up for 8th place. Maria Orris there for DBR as well. And then it's going to be Leah Malou for Team Furious. DBR is what we're hearing. And I'd be super surprised if we don't hear DBR at the top of the team points competition after what a result for them. Helen McKay, though, great job to her across the line in first place for Team Turbo. So team points competition, we'll be looking at that in just a moment. But real quickly, while we wait for those results to get up on screen, 4.9 watts per kilogram was the average of Samara Shepard, who came through in 8th place there. So, and then Courtney Nelson coming through in 18th place in the individual with a 5.1, showing exactly that the highest watts per kilogram on average is not always going to get you the best result. A lot of times it's the rider who plays it the smartest that brings down the win. But as you can see, DBR and Turbo, what a close battle between those two riders there. But DBR, Danish bike riders, takes it down. That's why Cecilia Hansen and Louise Hubach are known as some of the fastest out on Zwift. But shout out to Team Turbo battling them out. They just didn't have not quite as much riders there in that top 10. And the team result there is what it was all about. A great effort between each of the riders on Team DBR as well as Team Turbo. Vision eking into third place there, it looks like, with a couple riders in the top 10 results for the intermediate. And the final Team Fearless for fourth. Canyon ZCC comes into a tie, actually, in points with Revo for fifth place, but they must have had the first rider across the line. We saw that with Mary Wilkinson, I believe. So that is fifth and sixth place. KISS Racing Team coming in for seventh, Draft for eighth, and then Race 3R ninth, followed up by 2020. I believe that is going to be Courtney Nelson that was able to grab those points for Team 2020 out there. Looks like the ProAm racing here, the racers that are going pro out of the community in this new racing genre, showing that the in real life genre is trying to come in, got a little bit of work to do to try and hold on with these teams because they're obviously super experienced. Great job to all the racers out there. DBR, great job on the win. Let's go ahead and get some post-race analysis back to OJ and Hannah.
Thank you, Nate Ziller. I'm just looking at some of the messages that are coming in right now for that race, which was a fabulous race. I loved it. 74 Green said, Zwift racers showing the pros once again, which they did. And as you said, as we were watching it, there is a knack to Zwift racing.
Yeah, it's, it just shows the ones who are experienced, the ones who've raced on it, week in, week out, throughout the winter, throughout the summer, know all the tactics, know the course like the back of the hand. It really did show in tonight's race. And Canyon SRAM and Team 2020, just didn't have it. We thought we were going to have all that power, but
World Tour teams, but
yeah, Zwift teams showing us how it's done.
Danish bike riders, I mean, they won it. It was a team race. It was all about working as a team. What made them so good? What made them the ultimate team this evening?
I think they were just 1-2 all the time. Louise Hubach, power on her. She attacked quite early on in the race, and then she tried to go again up Parliament Street. But a little bit too early going into that finish. However, they were just constantly always there. It wasn't just leaving it up to one rider to collect the points in the intermediate sprints or at the finish line. They were all there, and it was the consistency that won them that. But Turbo, come with a late charge, with McKay taking the 20 points on the finish line.
She's a monster.
Absolute monster.
What a monster.
What, 11.1 watts per kilo in the finish line? What?
I was watching the watts per kilo just feeling a little sick inside. Knowing how, I mean, if you've raced on Zwift or ever been on a turbo or a smart trainer, you'll know the feeling they're all having right now, where you're sort of thinking, can I keep pedaling in this cool down? Or shall I just get off and lie on the floor in a pool of my own sweat? What I loved was Leah Thorvilson. We had a live rider cam right at the beginning. It was 1 minute and 27 seconds into the race, and you could see she was absolutely burning.
She was. Shoulders rocking and rolling like this, and you could just see she's trying to keep a composed look on her face, maybe, because she knows she's on camera. However, you could just tell that she just wants to go.
I love the overlay. I love all the stats as well, seeing the heart rates and seeing they were trying to get them down in the bits. There was a great message that came up halfway through from Totally Moomin32, who said he wasn't a fan of power-ups in real races. For me, the power-ups make the races on Zwift. They really make the races. Knowing when to drop them, to chain them with the rest of your team, it makes it for me. Yeah,
definitely. And it's, if you've not got the power-up that you want at that specific time, you want the feather for when it goes slightly uphill, you want the aero going into the finish. If you've not got the right one, it's kind of, when do I use it? Shall I risk using my power-up now in hope that I get one at the next arch? But I love it. I think it's, you don't get it in real life racing, so, having this little gem.
But that's the RNG. I mean, RNG is an esports term for random number generator. It comes up in a lot of things. It's basically the randomness of things that can happen in races, and people talk about the RNG of when you get power-ups, because you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. If there's a big climb and you need the feather, you might not get it on the lap, you need it on. But for me, that's what makes it like real-life racing, because you might get a puncture. You might clip a wheel. That's the RNG from the real world for me. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
And we saw them hitting that climb and dropping the feathers and watching people blast off.
Yeah. You said, come on, when are you going to drop it? When are you going to drop it? Next minute, it was just this flurry of feathers.
And then watching the people who didn't have feathers go backwards really quickly.
See ya.
Let's take a look at the final kilometre of the race now. Hannah, talk us through this, because we saw a very select bunch make it through. In fact, it was 20 riders made it to this point?
Yeah, it was 19 in fact, which was absolutely crazy. I mean, even in the first kilometres, the group split, but everything was kind of quite controlled here. Samara Shepherd at 2k to go had already attacked, so got back into the group to recover here. It was all quite under control, teams sort of watching each other and waiting for that sprint before we go under the arch. And the first rider that actually sort of threw something down was Elliot. Rachel Elliott led it out of Trafalgar Square, should I say, onto the mall. Leah Thorvilson, who was quite active during the race, then overtook her and tried to break away a little bit.
You can see everyone's
really waiting to pounce, aren't they?
They are. I mean, for me in a race, this is normally where I start going backwards really quickly when everyone starts sprinting. And what I love as well, I mean, this is something that's coming in for whoever's watching anywhere around the world. You might put one of these. The ride-ons, when the sprints start going, were fabulous.
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? And look at the gap that Huback opened up immediately. As soon as she put that power down, it was just a little bit too early. On this finish line, you can get a little bit too excited because you can see the finish line.
But she went early to try and launch Vicky Whitelaw into it, but there was just so many people around her. And we had Helen, who was it who won the race? It was
Helen McKay.
Helen McKay, who won the race, who came through. But yeah, that was the final kilometre there, which took us through the first of our Tour de Zwift races. And people are asking, what other races do we got? We've got 7 worlds, there'll be 7 live shows. There will be a men's race, which is going to be on the 15th of January, 7 p.m. GMT, and it'll be in the Innsbruck World. I like a bit of Innsbruck.
It's lovely. Apart from the scenery, the route is fantastic. Look at it.
There's a lot of climbs, may I say. There's a lot of climbing when you go into that.
There is.
So yeah, at some point I'd quite like it if you could ride up the ski slope and do the ski jump off it. But this will be our next race. It's going to be the 15th of January, 7 p.m. GMT. That's when we'll do the live. Elites, pros, amateurs again, we'll do the live race on then, and then the world will be open from the next day. It has been fabulous watching these races. Any other bits from the race you want to pick up on?
Not much really. I just want to give everyone a little pro tip. Make sure you get in the start pen early.
I didn't know this until you told me earlier on. Yeah,
get in the start pen early because, if you get in early, maybe 15, 20 minutes before the race starts, and you'll be at the front. Make sure you get in a good group to start as soon as that flag drops. You don't want to be near the back and caught out, do you?
No. The other pro tip is, how long before a race do you jump on the turbo? In reality. How long should you be?
I'd definitely say 15, 20 minutes. Get your warm up. Always, OJ. Always.
As an ex-pro.
Always.
I am about 15 minutes before a race. I do love a race on Zwift. About 15 minutes before I'm going, right, where's my heart rate strap? I can't find my heart rate strap. I can't get my bike on the thing. Right, I forgot my drink. Where's one of my shoes? And I'm panicking, and about 30 seconds before it goes live, I'm like, right, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but at least you don't need to do a warm-up because you've already had it. You're at like 201 beats per minute.
Can you get to 201?
No.
I'd be calling an ambulance. Right then, Tour de Zwift, hashtag Tour de Zwift. We want to see your pain face. If you do a race, you do a ride, anything from the Tour de Zwift, let us see it. We'd love to see your seps as well. With the next live stream, we will put them all on there. They'll be on all of Zwift's socials as well. And if you want to find out when Stage 1 kicks off, it's just a matter of hours before it does it, check out zwift.com/TDZ ride. You can see the event schedule on there. There's rides, you've got the different rides, you've got the women's only, and you've got the races as well. Or you can find it all via the Zwift companion app. We are going to race together, aren't we? We've said we're going to do this. We are going to do this.
Tomorrow, 7:10 GMT. We want you to join us.
Oh, yeah.
Let us know, tweet us, whatever. Let us know on the hashtag, if you will.
Yeah, I'm going to lead you out. So maybe from about the 2nd kilometre. So I'll get you to 2 kilometres. We've done. So
and then 14, it's all to me, is it?
14 kilometres to
Brilliant.
go, and I want you to finish it off. Hannah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching as well. 15th of January, 7 p.m. GMT. Myself and Olympic gold medalist Danny Rowe, who I'm hoping is going to bring her gold medal with her because I'm going to wear mine. It's made of chocolate. We'll see you then.
At least you can eat yours.
Oh yeah.